UKMotorTalk.
Hello and welcome to UK Motor Talk. We are at the British Motor Show in Farnborough and it's a gloriously sunny day. I'm here with Jim.
Hello.
It's lovely, isn't it?
It is glorious sunshine. It's very nice. It's a bit of a change from yesterday. It was quite drizzly and cool yesterday, wasn't it? So such is the British summer. Today is, well, it's absolutely scorching in the sun, isn't it? It's very nice. I'm glad I brought the sun cream.
It is beautiful. I probably should put some sun cream on, I think, actually, to be honest.
Probably put some shorts on as well.
I should. I've come in long trousers. That might have been a mistake, but it was miserable when I left home this morning. Oh, for a time machine A. Yeah, glorious here. Time machine. I'm going to go back to that. There is a DeLorean here. I was so excited to see that. I let out a visible? I let out an audible.
Yeah, I've just got back from holiday, and it's a bit like going on holiday with my lad who had two speeds the entire holiday, too fast or too slow. So he'd either run away at full speed or you'd be saying, come on, quicker, come on, pick up the pace, come on, bit quicker, come on, bit quicker, no, slow down, come back. It was one extreme to the other. You were definitely on the toddler going too fast mode when you saw the DeLorean there. You did just disappear and yes, made a funny noise. It was quite a nice thing, wasn't it?
It is a very nice thing. There's lots of really interesting stuff, and we're here with Andrew, who is our generally silent editor and producer. So if you'd like to give us a nod so no one can hear you. There we go. Fantastic. And we're sat next to, well, a big recovery truck, but not just any recovery truck, it's an electric one. It's making some pops and whizzes and fizzes and things, isn't it, right now?
Well, that might have been me earlier, to be fair, as well. But yeah, there's lots of relays and things clicking away. I'm not quite sure what it's doing, but it's got some chunky old batteries in it, this thing, hasn't it? What do we reckon this thing weighs? It's got to be...
Oh, a lot.
12? Empty? I'd be guessing. I don't know, it's got some huge batteries in it. It's got, batteries that look... what, half the size of a Mackie battery, something like that, but I can see one at the top, so I'm be guessing there's... How deep does that go? All the way down? And there'll be the same again the other side? There's some batteries in here, aren't there?
Oh, yeah, I mean, if you think about the height of a washing machine from the ground, I reckon probably all of that is going to be batteries. But anyway, there's not just electric stuff, there's a bit of everything here, isn't there? We've been one down and looked at some of the petrol head and some stuff. There's been a Noble down there, Supra, been lots of pops and bangs. I think I must be getting old because I'm not quite sure I understand the bouncing off the rev limiter a bit, but there was some fantastic skidding going on.
Yeah, I did very much enjoy the drifting and the going round in circles, and there was a remarkable display of trust. I think for UK Motor Talk Live, I think we should do something involving me doing donuts in the caterum with you stood in the middle, because there was he was very trusting, that guy, and he was only a couple of inches away from running over his feet, but you'd trust me to do that, wouldn't you?
Sure, it'd be fine. Now, to be honest, you do that without even asking.
Well, this is true. I mean, what's the worst that can happen?
I do without a couple of feet, I'm sure. I'm just crawling around on my knees.
Well, I was going to say,
elbows.
Most of the rest of you is facing medical issues, so why not just the full house? You might as well be knackered from head to toe, mightn't you?
Just sticks on the back of the load bed and just drive off. Yeah, it'd be fine.
Anyway, later on, what are we looking forward to? I'm looking forward to taking you to the medical suite to see what they make of you. Although I think that might be you for the day. I'd wheel you in, describe your symptoms, and then probably just have to leave you there, wouldn't I think?
Yeah, because I'm feeling a bit under the weather today. So despite the fact it's such a glorious day, and there's a gentle, cool breeze, which is exactly what you need, I reckon. Really not sure, but there's lots of exciting cars, and I've seen it on the ride already, so I'm happy.
Yes, you're quite happy. There was a nice little section. It was the Ford Owners Club, but there seemed to be a random Mark II Golf just sort of tacked on to the edge of it, which caught my eye. So, yeah, I think I'll be quite happy driving home in that. It was all standard, all original, mostly original paintwork, just well kept up too, and it's just a beautiful thing, and it's nice to see things like that still going.
It is. Right, let's get to it.
And well, we are here with the people who are, well, I suppose they're the people you never actually want to speak to or interact with, but it's nice to know that when you do need them, they're there. It is, of course, the AA. And your name, sir?
Sean Scott.
Lovely to meet you, and well, lots of bright yellow vehicles on a bright sunny day. There's a few bugs crawling all over them, but they seem to be trying to pollinate them at the moment.
We do attract the bugs, that's for sure.
But there's quite a range here. There's 2 wheels, 4 wheels, petrol powered, diesel powered, electric powered, which we'll get onto in a minute. There's a full range of absolutely everything here, isn't there?
Yes, yeah, you've got a good period of history of the AA here, right back from almost the beginnings, because the push bike was the beginning really, but the iconic sidecar that was replaced in big numbers by the Mini, and then different vehicles that have come up over the years.
Let's have a look at some of these in turn. So the Mini caught my eye. There's two here that instantly a bit of me. Well, three really, I suppose. And that is, we've got a classic Austin minivan, we've got a Mark II Escort van, and then we've got a Land Rover, as in an actual Land Rover, all of which are proper, presumably hard-working vehicles once upon a time.
Yeah, and iconic in their time, really. Yeah, I think the Escort van was one of the first ones bought, and it's been kept ever since then by the AA. So all these vehicles are looked after by patrols in their own time, just to keep the history alive.
This is the Heritage Collection. Is the Heritage Collection based somewhere centrally? You say they're looked after by individual patrols, or they just go back to individual places?
Across the country where they live, they've got a garage, they stick them in, things like that. And they've tried to keep it not in a museum, it's more in a mobile museum, if you like.
That's lovely. So it's a real labour of love. It's a real passion. It's not somebody doing it because they have to. It's because they want to.
Oh no, definitely. It's people. A few patrols have volunteered to do it, and not all the patrols know it exists sometimes. But it's hard work, but it is enjoyable, and you get to talk to the public, and that's quite. They tell you stories and their memories, especially throughout the ages. They get their memories of the old sidecar or the Mini or whatever. And you get some good conversations.
That's it. There's actually probably quite a few good stories around needing the AA. I said at the beginning, it's you never actually want to talk to them, but it's nice to know they're there if you need. It's a bit like insurance, isn't it? But actually, afterwards, when all's said and done, if you've broken down somewhere, it's normally an interesting story of how you eventually got home, or what happened, or what you needed to do, or where you ended up sleeping for the night, or whatever. So actually, it probably makes a few long-lasting memories, doesn't it?
That's right. I mean, it always amazes me that if your gas boiler breaks down, you've got to wait days for the engineer to come round, and if it's in the winter, that's not much fun with no heating and that. But when you're broken down on the road, you're generally going to get someone there within the hour, certainly that day, and it's quite amazing. It's quite a logistical nightmare to do that, not only for the AA but for the other breakdown organisations as well. So it's mind-boggling, the figures of breakdowns they do every year. It really is.
So how long have you been in and around the AA things? You're happily retired, you say, but you've dusted out the uniform, and so again, truly a labour of love.
Special uniform for the Heritage Fleet. So I own 2 AA motorbikes myself, so I'm looking to get those back on the road, and I've been doing it for over 20 years. So we've got a good group of colleagues and friends right across the country, rather than just being a patrol in an area, and it's been a great interest. And I always like learning. I forget a lot, so I have to learn quite often. It's a great interest, and like I say, the public like that history, and it's keeping it alive. A lot of people don't know this. A lot of these things exist. We're in generations now where they don't know about the sidecar or the minivan or things like that.
Yeah, so there's all the memories that it jogs, but I've got, just looking at the VW over there, I've got vague memories of a TV advert starring that sort of car, and that colour scheme with the green checkers and the green stripe on the bottom. That's triggering a memory somewhere for me.
That was the emergency, with the fourth emergency service.
That was the one,
which caused a little bit of talk with
the Coast Guard.
And I did say at the time, but you don't see them in town rescuing people, but just lately you do now because of the floods, so I could be corrected on that. But that was one of the best vans we had for me. It was a van that actually went very well, and you could carry passengers, so it was very comfortable if you wanted your lunch break in the back, and very good. But then that was replaced with the vans that have the recovery equipment built in the back, so you could immediately recover people you couldn't fix, which was a business want at the time.
I would imagine as cars have got newer and newer and newer, in the old days of carburettors and plugs and things like that, you'd open the bonnet and you'd fix the engine with a spanner and some parts, whereas nowadays you have a breakdown, you open the bonnet, And on a my car, if you open the bonnet, it's a frunk, and you think, oh, well, that's just storage. Well, it doesn't work. Well, what can I do?
Yeah.
Have you tried turning it on again? Yeah. Does it work? No. Okay, tow it in, because it needs plugging into a laptop, and that's it.
Which is worth thousands of pounds. Not only the laptop, but the software more about these days. So the AA do their best to try and deal with all vehicles through Bosch Diagnostics, and that is a huge expense to them, and people don't realise that you can't do the job without it nowadays. Whereas these old cars here, both ours and on display, you could get under there with a few spanners and sort things out. So yeah, it's very much a changed world in that side of things.
Would you almost get excited if you got called out to a real proper mechanical breakdown? It's like, I've ripped a wheel off it, fantastic, I'll be there in 5 minutes.
Maybe not a ripped wheel off, but yeah, you did get a buzz going out to the old stuff that you might have done as an apprentice or in your early years of being a mechanic, which I was. But I did enjoy the later stuff as well. But it's different mindset sort of thing. So yeah, it goes both ways. But yeah, there's always a buzz going out to an old classic or even vintage vehicle.
And of course, there's always that satisfaction of, I fixed it. No matter how often you've done it, that getting the diagnostics right, doing a thing and fixing it is wonderfully satisfying, isn't it?
Yeah, it definitely is. And I think possibly my one I remember is getting a Bentley going with an elastic band, and it sorted his problems out until he could get back to the garage. And anything like that. That was the old patrol type fixing, making do, getting stuff working. Because at the moment, as you know, you can't get the parts for most vehicles off the shelf. It's got to be ordered. So on the roadside, you're limited to what you carry. So you really do have to think out the box sometimes, which is harder with the new vehicles. If the computer says no, you're sort of stuck.
That's it.
I remember on a rare occasion actually broke down, and the patrol turned up, chap jumped out, grabbed his laptop, looked at the car and just went, "Won't be needing that." It was an old Orion. The ignition amp had died, and I think probably the last time you've probably seen one of those die, I think it's been a long, long time ago. And we were there with a spark tester, just trying to see if we had spark on everything, trying to work it out. But bless me, managed to tow me far enough where I knew I had a spare dizzy and an amp and everything else tucked up and got me going. So we count that as a roadside win. I see the AA box there. I still carry my AA key.
Oh right, yeah.
I've still got the AA key.
Have you got it on you today?
I haven't got it with me today. No, sadly, I haven't brought my keys with me. But on the onion keys, are still there.
So that's a reproduction box thought up by some of the guys that do the heritage fleet, and it's a great little addition to the display of vehicles. And once again, a lot of people don't know they exist or don't realise that a lot of them are Grade 2 buildings now, so they have to be kept up to scratch. So yeah, it's good storage for us when we're at the show.
I've had my key on my keys for a very long time, even when I was a kid. I remember being on a school trip as a very young kid, and they had one. Went to a museum and they had one in the museum, and I just thought, I wonder if the key works. Put the key in the door. Sure enough, it's still the same lock. Disappeared inside. Teacher had no idea where we'd gone. We're just hiding inside the AA box.
Brilliant, yeah.
Did you say that you were on the bikes for the AA?
Yes, so I was the last AA patrol on the bikes. Came off the bikes in 2019 when they got old and weren't being replaced. So yeah, I did about 150,000 miles over 8.5 years. Great buzz, considering I started on trucks in this company, and I've driven or ridden nearly every vehicle they've had. So it's been a great career of interest and always changing, which helps keep it fresh for me.
So you'd always ask somebody if somebody was a paramedic, the most entertaining or interesting or embarrassing for the person involved story about their rescues and whatever else. So from an AA point of view, most interesting, most hair-raising, most eyebrow-lifting breakdown.
The interesting ones sometimes was the members more than the vehicle. So I had one chap that run out of fuel, and it's like 1 o'clock in the morning. So it just starting to rain. So I said to him, I think you've run out of fuel. And he said, no, I haven't. I've not run out of fuel. I said, okay, we'd better tow you to a garage. And he said, well, aren't you going to fix it? I said, well, I think you're out of fuel. You obviously know better. So we'll have to get you into a garage. And he said, well, you could put some fuel into C. I said, well, yeah, sure, if you're up for that, I'll do that. So I put some fuel into it. And the car started straight away. So I thought, great, we're on the way. And then in those days we had a bit of paper to sign to say what was wrong. And he said, I'm not signing that. I said, why is that? And he said, well, you've got it down as out of fuel. And I said, well, yeah, that's what it was. He said, no, it wasn't. It was obviously a blockage in the fuel line, and the fuel you put in blew it out. And I went, yeah, okay. I bid him farewell and off we went.
Sign here, press hard, 3 copies, good night.
Yes, that's it, yeah. So there's things like that. I remember a lady, when we had changed from 4-star, we lost the 3-star petrol.
I remember going 4-star to LRP. I remember that, yep.
And she'd run out of fuel, but she said it's because I can't get so many stars in, so it's not my fault. So that was another one.
It's like the newer cars with the tyre pressure gauges on the dashboard. It's like I'm trying to inflate them to 100%, but I can't manage it. It's like, no, that's PSI, but keep going, so you'll get there eventually.
Yeah, don't get your bar muddled up with your PSI. That was another one. But also when I was on the recovery side, you saw a lot of cars that had accidents, so you're pulling people back and getting them home or wherever. One chap, I went out on a breakdown, he had to go to London from Brighton, and he'd been waiting a long time. It was a busy summer's day where we were stretched, and he said, I'm on kidney dialysis. And I said, how far away for your next treatment? And he said, I should have had it half an hour ago. I said, let's leave your vehicle, take you to hospital. And I just dumped the vehicle, took him straight to hospital, and he didn't want to make a fuss, and he wasn't going to make a fuss. And of course, if we got caught in traffic, he'd be hours over. So got him all done and then taken back the other day. So you get this very human side of the problems, irrespective of what had happened on the vehicle. And a lot of the patrols are really good at dealing with the human side as well, and seeing what's important rather than what maybe people want at the time.
That's always the thing. It's the thing with cars anyways. They're not just cars. They're not just lumps of metal and wire and plastic and whatever else. It's taking the family out, or it's taking somebody to hospital, or it's there to do a purpose and help the family or help the owner or the driver out. And of course the AA lets it carry on and do that, doesn't it?
So we try our best to get people on the road and keep them going. The figures that the amount of cars that get back on the road and going is quite incredible. But it is a challenge, I think, with the modern stuff now, and especially with electric vehicles. You find a lot of the garages sort of scratch their heads at the electric vehicles. It's all coming in so quick. There's not really the labour force out there that's learning all about it. So it's a stretch.
Well, speaking of electric vehicles, obviously turning our head round, we have the latest and greatest ? Not sure. We'll maybe come to that in a minute. Is the electric truck? So here to talk to us about the electric truck, we have Max. Hello, Max.
Hello. Thank you for talking to me.
That's a very good podcasting voice, by the way.
I don't know whether the accent actually is good for a podcast. It might be a bit sore on the ears. That might be.
No, you'll be fine. But it's an eye-catching bright yellow thing, as all of the vehicles are, but 100% electric. So tell us a little bit about it.
Yeah, so it is a Volvo. Like you said, it's 100% electric. It has 375 kilowatt-hour batteries. So Volvo state the range at about 170 on a full charge, but that's obviously really conservative because they run all their simulations on full payload and basically just worst case scenario. Now, we don't ever really run around at full payload on that vehicle because full payload of it is about 6 tonne. Now, for us, really, most of our work is around 3.5 tonne and under when you think about normal family size vehicles and things like that. And you know, probably the highest is like that transit van that we've got there, fully loaded, 3.5 tonne, let's say, going on the back, is really the top end of the work that we'll be doing. So we're seeing more of a realistic range for ourselves of over 200, around about the 220 mark.
So not too bad at all.
No. So it's a really good range, to be fair, that we're getting from it. And you know, it's still early days for this truck, so we're still really trying to figure out, like, you know, where it sort of fits in and you know what the capabilities are. And we're just using it in anger because that's the only way that we're really going to learn about, you know, what it can and sort of can't do. And at the moment, I think it's holding its own, really. It's got all the same capabilities as a diesel truck. And, you know, we did 325 miles in it on Monday. We only stopped to charge it once, and that was a tacho break. So I had to have a 45-minute tacho break as I'm driving a HGV. And in that time, I managed to get enough charge in it so that I could get myself back to where I needed to go to. So, at the moment, it's looking really promising.
Actually, yeah, that's a good point on the HGV tacho brake EV argument. Because a lot of the time with any vehicle, it's always using it as long as it suits your purposes, as you say, finding where it fits in. But actually, that mandated brake that you need to take when driving for a living is ideal for charging, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. And it's a perfect... So on that Monday when I started my shift, I actually ran out before the truck ran out. So I had to stop and reset my drive time and my working time. That truck could have still carried on going for about another 80 miles by that point. So, it's a great bit of kit, but I think the biggest struggle that we're going to face, or electric trucks in general is going to face, is that the infrastructure, although it's there for cars and it's there for vans, that sheer size of vehicle...
I was going to say, that doesn't fit in the space in Clackett Lane or wherever you stop to charge, does it?
No, it doesn't, no. So we've managed to, we've used it on the public network a few times now. So obviously we've taken it to grid servers. They have like an electric forecourt and it fit in quite well there. We also have taken it to a few service stations, and it's one of them we need to... if I get to that service station, I need to think, right, well, I can't take up all these charges, can I? So I have to get myself on an end bay, and then I'm potentially taking up a few normal car parking spaces. But it's just, it's highlighting the fact that actually the infrastructure needs to improve on this sort of level now. So we feel like it's quite good on a car and van level, but it needs to be, certainly looked at from a HGV level.
But you're the AA, and you've got orange flashy lights on the car and a high vis. You just park where you like, surely.
I wish that was the case. I really wish.
I'm sure you get a little bit more leeway than the average.
I wish there was a little bit of priority there, but no, we play by the same rules that everyone else does. And if anything, we're a bit, we're not going to inconvenience everyone else because we've got a big electric truck. Do you know what I mean? If anything, we'll be the ones going last.
Fair play to you.
Yeah, so we've got our own. So where that truck is actually based, it has its own charger, so it's slightly faster. It's not the fastest that it can charge it. So the charger that we're putting in will give it a 0 to 100 charge in about 8 hours. Using some of the chargers on the public network, you can get that thing 0 to 100 in about 2 hours. Yep. So that's even if I stop for my 45-minute break, I nearly get 50% back into it. So realistically, that truck will be used to go out and about locally, covering maybe 60 to 80 mile radius. It's not going to be doing a lot of the heavy duty stuff. It won't be covering hundreds of miles per day, but it definitely has its place, because our recovery work, a big portion of it is we know that a vehicle needs to be moved on Thursday. It's not all emergency breakdown that we're going straight to that job, and that truck then falls perfectly into that gap of actually we can line up 8 jobs for it and away it goes.
Yeah, I often think with EV driving, if you do go anywhere long distance in an EV, it's a bit like how you used to have to drive before sat-nav, as in you had to look at a map the night before and work out which way you were going to go. Yeah. I think we've all got a bit spoiled over the last sort of 15 years of, I don't know, I just get in the car and I press the button and say, hey, generic smartphone device, please navigate me to wherever, and it does it. You don't need to think about it, whereas an EV, you need to think about where you're going to stop, where you're going to charge, what you're going to do. So with something that you can plan, why not? And it's like anything, match the vehicle to your needs. If you do 300,000 miles a year, probably don't drive a V8 petrol, but if all you do is local journeys, have a plug-in hybrid, it's that kind of thing, isn't it?
Yeah, it's really about, it goes back to, I know on a car and a van side, it's loads, it's easier because, the infrastructure is there. Obviously on this sheer size, when we're talking about HGV, you are bringing the planning so much more back into it, because you're right, we have been spoiled really, that we can just go, right, this is where I'm heading. I know there's going to be somewhere on the way that I can either refuel or recharge. So you're right, we're just sort of going back a bit in that we need a little bit more planning along the way.
And what does the truck itself weigh, out of interest? Because 300, we were trying to work out the size of the batteries and we decided big, but 375 kilowatts is a lot of electricity, isn't it?
Yes. So the gross vehicle weight is 19 tonnes. So it doesn't weigh that, but that's what in total it can carry. So it's probably around about the 10 or 11 tonne mark when it's got nothing.
Oh, well, I think we were about right then, weren't we? And I guess, fairly close.
Yeah. But it's, what I will say is, I think it's the best looking vehicle that we have on the fleet, especially with those wheels on it as well. But yeah, it's a great bit of kit, and it's a great new addition to our fleet, and it's just great because you know what, we're investing in the future, and we're keeping an eye on it. And like it says on the side of it there, 100% electric, always ahead. Doing stuff like this is how we stay ahead, really, and how we stay at the forefront, especially for our members, is when we're doing stuff like this. And obviously we've got that Iveco there, what is an electric vehicle again, and it's almost like a recovery van in a way. So it's a nice mix in between a truck and a van. It sort of comes in the middle of, it has increased towing capabilities over our normal RSS van, doesn't have as much as what it can do as the truck, but the great thing about it is, once again, it's another electric vehicle, and it's just ways that we're trying to look into the future of, because it's coming, and we have to be ready, not only for ourselves in the vehicles that we use, but also for our members as well.
Can I just say, if you have actually used that truck, you said you've actually taken it out and you've done some miles in it, it's unbelievably clean, so fair play to, is it either yourself or whoever's cleaned it?
I'll say everything here has been detailed to within an inch of its life, but I think that shows, and looking at the fleet here and the way you talk about it and the passion, I think it's clear the pride that's shown in the fleet is all the way through, isn't it? It's not just your work truck and you drop it off at the end of the day and go home. This seems more like a passion project or a labour of love. Yeah,
so my role at the AA is I'm the recovery patrol of the year, so I'm the truck side of things, and then Chris, who drives that lovely van over there, 999 AA, is the RSS patrol of the year, so the van side.
Is that why he gets the posh number plate?
Yes, and so I have a truck. I have another truck to that one. I'm sounding like a right spoilt brat here, but that has the number plate AA3 on the front of it. Obviously, this one has EV24 REC, so for EV and recovery. So it is sort of part of our job. It's not wholly our job, but for us to be doing this role, it's things like this that we have to really uphold. And who doesn't love a clean vehicle? I think it's amazing having stuff like this, and when you've got it on show, people can really appreciate them. And yeah, I am jealous. That looks great, but that truck is just perfection.
Well, I think it points to the whole operation. If you take your car somewhere, you want a clean workshop. You want, somebody to work on your car who takes pride in cars in general, in their own vehicle. They often say never buy a house off a builder, because he never seems to spend time on his own house. And I know a chap who's a builder, and he's always doing stuff on his house, but none of it's ever finished because he never gets the time. Whereas I think this demonstrates that you work on vehicles, you live and breathe vehicles, and it shows. It's evidenced in all of this. So it's if you're looking for somebody to look after your vehicle, and without trying to make this podcast sound like we are sponsored by the AA, which unless you want to give me some cash, then we are most definitely not sponsored by the AA, then have a look at theaa.com and get a quote for breakdown cover for your vehicle.
Yeah, brilliant, and thank you for coming and talking. Thank you for spending some time looking through our vehicles, and you're more than welcome to come back and talk to us again at any point you would like.
Thank you very much. We'll have some cash next time as well.
We've just stopped walking away through to take a look at a Suzuki Ignis Sport. Now, it's one of those cars that's kind of is it a rare but nobody cares car?
It's a rare, I don't think it's a lack of caring. I think it's I have no idea what it is from the point of view of a lot of people, but they're quite cool little things, aren't they?
I think so. I seem to remember that they came in a bright yellow colour as well. I think you get them in a bright yellow, sort of rally spec looking thing. They're quite a cool looking car. Small, very Japanese. The Sport, this one's got Recaro seats in it, and it's actually for sale. Not a huge amount of money, 3,695. Yeah, Recaro seats, like fishnet headrests. Not rapid, 0 to 60 in 8.9 seconds, 107 horsepower. Apparently, only 113 left on the road. I think it's quite cool.
I like all the little features, or all the sort of bits you'd do to your own car back in the day, wouldn't it? You'd put some white wheels on it and a set of Recaro buckets inside and be quite happy with it, wouldn't you?
It's definitely a product of the early mid-noughties, isn't it?
Yeah, there's that sort of max power latched onto the max power. It's got a bit of a Citroen, what was it, a Citroen
C2
VTR thingy type edition by Loeb white wheels kind of thing about it. But I always think when a manufacturer does white wheels, there's somebody a little bit Larry's been in charge of it, because white wheels are a choice, aren't they?
They're a lifestyle choice, not even just a choice. If you go for white wheels, you know you're committing yourself to having to clean them every sort of few miles, to be honest. In fact, 3/4 of a mile, the white wheels I had on my Mini, for what they needed doing. But yeah, I just saw it, thought that's quite interesting.
My name is Steve Nash. I'm the Chief Executive of the Institute of the Motor Industry, which is the automotive industry's professional body.
And that means you get involved with all sorts of interesting things, but the stuff we've spoken about before is training. And of course, training how to service and look after all these wonderful electric cars we're seeing now.
Well, yeah, that's right. As a professional body, I mean, our job is obviously to set the standards for skills across the industry at all levels.
And keeping that safe, presumably, if nothing else.
Absolutely. Well, we put in place what is the de facto license to practice for people working on high voltage electrics of any form of electrified vehicle. That's called IMI Tech Safe, and it's government endorsed and health and safety executive endorsed. So, yeah, that is about making sure that people don't, I mean, look, electric cars are perfectly safe, but it's a different set of skills to what you need working on mechanical things. So, it's about making sure people do that safely.
And I mean, the challenge now is presumably there's a lot of mechanics with greasy fingers out there who like old cars and looking after old cars because that's why they've got into the industry. How are they approaching this new modern world from your perspective?
Well, it's a mixed picture, actually. I mean, look, there's roughly 40 million vehicles on the road, which are overwhelmingly internal combustion engine vehicles. I think about 35 million of those are passenger cars and light commercial vehicles, and a few heavy vehicles on the other end. I think that there's going to be enough of those around for the people who actually go, that's my thing, and I don't want to engage with the new technologies. There's enough to see them going for a very good number of years yet.
Even without new ones coming onto the road?
Indeed. But again, overwhelmingly, the new product assortment coming is electrified. That's the way it has to be. I mean, there are all sorts of regulations that are forcing the manufacturers down that route, whether it's the zero emission vehicle mandate in the UK, the CAFE regulations that apply across Europe, other regulations in the States, So one way or another, the manufacturers have to get to a point where their cars emit nothing from the tailpipe. And at the moment, the answer to that is battery electric. And it's probably going to be for the really going forward for passenger cars. I think there are other solutions for heavier vehicles. Technologies like hydrogen will come into play with heavy vehicles. I think, if people think that there's an issue, and it's probably less of an issue than people think now, but because we've seen a very big increase in the charging network over the last year or so. But if people think there's an issue with range anxiety on electric cars, at the moment there's only a couple of depots in the whole of the UK that can provide you with hydrogen. So I mean, hydrogen is on a development curve way behind battery electric. But I think for heavy vehicles, particularly the depot-to-depot stuff, so buses and things like that go from the depot and back again, or two depots, that's a different thing. And so that hydrogen will definitely play its part, perhaps even e-fuels as well. But e-fuels are largely hydrogen-based, so, you've got some issues with hydrogen in that you need an awful lot of energy to create hydrogen, which common sense means that has to be green energy. And also hydrogen is quite a difficult substance to contain because it's a tiny molecule.
You were saying from your background in the industry, you have seen the, dare I say, lack of development perhaps in hydrogen over, I won't say how many years, but quite a while.
Well, yeah, I have. I mean, look, in my former life with an OEM, we were running cars on liquid hydrogen back, sort of 20 years ago. And proof of concept, it works fine. I mean, you could switch between that and petrol or diesel and you wouldn't know the difference. But there were lots of issues around liquefying hydrogen because you have to store it at absolute zero. I don't think that's the way most people would go now. They would use it as a gas. But it's interesting because I heard a fuels technologist speaking, and actually in terms of what you put into what you get out, so input for output, the most energy-dense fuel available to us is carbon fuels. Like it or not.
It's the way that how things have been and why we're using them.
Yeah, petrol and diesel are give you the most output for input. The next most efficient, though, is battery electric. Hydrogen comes a bit behind that. It has advantages because the only thing that comes out the tailpipe is water vapour. You could actually drink it if you were so inclined.
People to prove a point.
I think Jay Leno did, didn't he? Jay Leno did exactly that. But those who think that I'll hang back because it's going to be hydrogen, isn't it, are a bit misinformed or a bit deluded in a way. I mean, look at the product plans of the manufacturers. It's not just the current product assortment, but look at what they've got planned, because I know, coming from an OEM background, you plan out 25 years, So the products that are coming today are already old hat to the engineers. I mean, they're already well down the route of working on the next models and the ones after that. So, I think the future is electric one way or another.
And so where do we stand currently then? The franchised main dealers are all fully trained in electric?
Largely, I mean, that's because that's it. It's a cascade, isn't it? So you've got to be equipped to service the cars you sell. So, yeah, I mean, the manufacturers in the main have had quite a big push around qualifying their workforce, some more than others. And I think even that's moving in stages, because there's not a single qualification. You've got sort of a level 2 qualification that equips you to make the car safe and work around the electrics, a level 3 which equips you to make the car safe and do some diagnostic on the electrics, level 4 which is sort of master technician level, which enables you to work on live systems, and then some of the more forward-looking manufacturers are now going to level 5 and above, which enables people to actually work inside the battery. And that's necessary because, you don't want cars written off for minor battery casing damage or whatever. So that's a natural development.
And that was one of the things that we were always being warned about. Oh, the batteries won't last. Presumably by servicing the batteries and looking after them, the cars will keep going 20 years on the same batteries.
We talk about a battery, but of course it isn't that, is it? When you open it up, it's hundreds or thousands of batteries, lots of little cells which are look like an AA battery, and they're arranged in blocks, in clusters, and so one of those clusters could have a fault, but you could replace that cluster, not the whole battery. I mean, batteries are getting better and more efficient and smaller and lighter and everything else, but they're still worth about half the value of the car, and coming down, but still, so the entire battery it's ludicrous to replace it all.
Certainly when you talk about a Dacia at 15 grand for an all-electric car, the battery must probably be more than half of that.
Yeah, it probably is, but we're moving away from liquid electrolytes. We're moving to solid-state batteries, which are less volatile. Again, there are all sorts of scare stories about battery fires and stuff. You talk to the emergency services, they will tell you that whilst they gain massive headlines when an electric car catches fire, I mean, when the Luton when the Luton Airport car park caught fire, everybody went electric car. Was it? It was a diesel Land Rover, wasn't it, that caught fire? So, the incidence of fires with electric cars is actually lower. But yeah, with current battery technology, that can be a bit of a challenge, but that's changing. We're moving forward. The development curve is phenomenal. And that's true of affordability. I mean, you've mentioned the Dacia. I mean, isn't it brilliant to see an electric car worth 15 grand? Yeah. Okay, that won't be for everybody, but it's a signal of where we're going. And that's where we need to be. I mean, people talk about weight and all that sort of stuff. That's because most of the first generation electric cars we see are electric versions of existing cars. So you add the battery weight to the existing car, whereas the newer versions coming are designed to be electric from the ground up. And they're not carrying that weight penalty, And I think it's tremendously exciting, and they're brilliant to drive, aren't they?
Exactly. But when it comes down to it, quieter, smoother, and all the more refined things that you would have to spend an awful lot more on previously to get a car that did that. It's Thursday today.
Yes.
We're talking on the day that exam results come out.
Yeah.
If you were in that situation, what would be your advice to someone who might want to enter the motor industry? Do we forget about old mechanics, or do we look at just electric now?
Well, if somebody is actually looking to take on a hands-on role in automotive, at the moment we're covering both. But look, there are master technicians around today who know little or nothing about carburetors because they just haven't been the thing. They haven't been current technology now for 20 odd years.
Oh, good long while. Yeah.
So unless you're looking after legacy products, you don't really need to know about carburetors. We are getting close. We're not there yet. We're getting close to the point where we will start to train people purely to work on electric vehicles, and they won't know anything about internal combustion engines. But we're not there yet, and we have this assortment of hybrids and so on. So we're covering both bases at the moment. But look, this time last year, we launched a campaign called There's More to Motor. And this was about resetting people's ideas of what automotive is about, using real voices, showing that actually there's a massive array of jobs in automotive. The people who do them are not always the people you'd think would do them, and they come from very diverse backgrounds. And we've got tremendous industry support on it. It's had an amazing effect, that campaign. We've got big players like Toyota and BMW joining us, and I would say to anybody thinking of joining the motor industry, don't think about it, do it. I've been in the industry my entire working life, and it's been a blast, and I would encourage anybody to think of automotive, because there are over 200 different jobs in automotive retail alone. People think we have people to sell them, service them, and manage them.
Maybe clean them once in a while.
Yeah, but there are so many more roles than that, and new roles emerging all the time because the new technology is creating that. So I'd say it's an industry that never stands still, and it's never moved faster than it's moving at the moment. So get on board, and you'd have a great and. There are just so many opportunities for people who apply themselves, and I wouldn't change my career if I was starting all over again.
We've got just about 4 bar of pressure going through there. It's a household compressor. It's about 14 CFM, and the dry ice is going to come out of this red hose here. We've got air line going straight over the top. The Venturi effect pulls the ice through, and then you just have a very, very simple cleaning process.
Can I touch that now?
Yeah, you can touch it. Yeah,
is it freezing cold? It's chilly, but it's not freezing. Yeah.
It'll be cold. It's not freezing. That will dry within about 10 minutes and come back to normal room temperature. And it will be completely dry, no moisture whatsoever. So there's no bacteria growth or mold growth afterwards as it dries.
It's really cool.
A cause dear to my heart really is car cleaning and looking after cars and maintaining cars, and probably dear to your heart as well with cleaning up old cars and the underneath of old cars for the young. Bit late now really, but we're looking at some dry ice cleaning, and we are here with Luke. Hello, Luke.
Hello, welcome to the stand.
The video is fascinating. It's one of those, it's not to disparage it, it's kind of like a JML feeling of this is what the cleaner thing can do for you. But what you're actually showing us, and you've actually got the kit here, so we can call your bluff on it, can't we, and have a look at it and see what the kit does. But dry ice cleaning, for those that know nothing about it, in short, I think I can probably guess what it is, but what is it?
So the short version is that dry ice cleaning is a non-abrasive, propelled CO2 pellet using compressed air that cleans virtually anything. So we're looking at fabrics, plastics, metals, rubbers, glass, the list goes on and on.
And it's the application, as it's being demonstrated on the video now for us, is cleaning the underneath of a mucky Ford, funnily enough. And it's when you say non-abrasive, and there's 2 bits to pick up on there. Number 1, non-abrasive, but number 2, you can use it on fabric as well.
Yes, absolutely. So firstly, the reason it's non-abrasive is because it is the pellet is made up of CO2 as in the gas. It's harvested from the likes of oil refineries as a byproduct, and anaerobic biodigesters. So the CO2 is taken, it's contained. When it's compressed in a specialist pelletizer, the compression causes that gas to turn into a solid. That solid, when it is propelled at a certain speed, it will explode effectively. That explosion will turn it back to a gas very, very rapidly. That speedy process, that gas expansion, is what the cleaning process is. Hence there's no abrasion, because the gas itself can't abrade anything that is harder than it. So fabrics, for instance, it can get into intricate areas of fabrics, and it can clean metals and plastics. Exactly the same.
See, I failed A-level chemistry miserably, so much so that I ended up dropping out of college and starting some different A-levels again. But I understood that, so I think I understand chemistry now. That's fascinating. But so normally when you look at something like this, you'd think it's blasting, it's sandblasting, media blasting, whatever that you see on lots of restoration videos as being quite aggressive. But as you say, if it's gentle enough to be used on fabric, then it's got to be fine doing, certainly fine on engine bays and things like that. But of course, it's a lot safer, I'm guessing, than traditionally trying to wash or snow foam or clean an engine bay with water, pressure washer, steam cleaner, anything like that, if it stays bone dry, presumably.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah. So the major benefits of it are obviously, like we've already spoken about, it's non-abrasive. The other benefit is that there's no chemicals involved and there's no moisture. Because it's CO2, there is zero moisture involved. It is only one element, which is CO2. So the gas itself has no moisture in it. So anything that you touch with the CO2 will eventually just be a dry substrate afterwards. You can use it on live electricals, for instance, because it's non-conductive, no moisture. You can use it on any open surface or anything that is actually going to be permeable, and it won't damage it.
Because one of my first cars, I made the mistake of trying to clean up the engine bay by spraying a load of gunk cleaner all over it and then washing it with a hose pipe. Basically, I heard some crackling, and the car had a few electrical issues afterwards. Yeah. I found the other way to do it is to buy a brand new car and then just keep up to it, but that's a little bit extreme, isn't it? I think a dry ice cleaner is a bit cheaper.
Yeah, it's definitely cheaper to do it that way. Dry ice cleaning, it's not new technology, it's been around for a long time, but it's mainly been used by large contract companies in thermoplastics or print factories, where they would contract a company to come out, bring one of their very, very large compressors and a very, very large machine out with them, and then they would charge quite a substantial amount to go in and blast. The pressure that they're using is 16 bar plus. If you understand pressure, it's a lot. And the volume, which is most important to dry ice cleaning, is volume of air that they'll be using will be 200 CFM plus. What Dry Ice Energy have been able to achieve with their machines is now making it into this compact size, kind of like the Henry Hoover size, where we're able to use a 14 CFM compressor bought online for a couple of £100 and remove chocolates and chewing gum from car seats. It's just a very, very basic example of what it can do.
Because what caught my eye was the two machines that you have. There's three machines actually. There's another one over there, but the two in the corner here that we have are about slightly bigger than a Henry Hoover, or about the size of a Karcher domestic pressure washer laid down. And are these available to buy?
Yes, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, they're available online. The one thing that we do is, because it is a fairly new technology, anybody that purchases a machine, we give demonstrations and we make sure that they're fully trained. So we give a full kit of PPE, they get ice with it, so it's kind of like almost like buying your first car, but then also getting the driving lessons included with it and everything else that comes along with it. It's mainly because of the fact that there are dangers to it, in the same way that there are dangers to using a pressure washer that people probably don't really think about anymore, because it's a standardised process. Take a pressure washer and then go, let me blast that in my car. Then you look at a piece of plastic and go, why is that a slightly different colour? There's dangers to it. Dry ice is just a learning process, understanding the do's and don'ts and what it can and can't do. All these machines are of varying different sizes, that's why there's different ones. They are ranging from low pressure machines to very, very high pressure machines. But they're all basically the similar concept, pneumatics only, no electrics, just give it air and it will go.
Just air? Only needs an air connection? Oh yeah.
That's it, as simple as that. And like you said, Henry Hoover, they only weigh 12, 14 kilos. It's a German manufacturer, they're made in Germany. All the materials are made in Germany also and constructed in Germany. So for us, it's a really good, simple service. The machines are, I don't want to say basic, the patented design is incredibly clever, and it means that the servicing and the warranties on them are fantastic. It's not a machine that you're going to have to buy 2 or 3 times because every couple of years it wears out. These are built to last. They're built for industry, just now in a nice neat package for everybody to be able to use.
So for all of our lovely, lovely listeners at home who have that classic car, that older car, that more special car tucked away in the garage, then something like this domesticates dry ice cleaning for them, doesn't it?
That is actually the target, yeah. We're getting to that process where we're trying to get to the point where it's not such a specialist machine that people don't have to employ somebody to come out to do their car. They don't have to try to figure out how they're going to get the ice or anything like that. It's a one-stop shop. You can buy the compressor, you can buy the machine, you can buy the ice. It's on next day delivery. It's made fresh every single day, and it becomes kind of that business model that allows people to just get into it without having the stress of trying to learn the science behind it, however it all works.
And approximate cost for these machines if you do want to buy one?
So approximate cost, they're ranging from 4,000 all the way up to 15,000 depending on which machine you were to go for. You include compressor prices into that cost as well, because we sell package deals and things like that. Training, free ice as well. So there's many different models for the type of companies that they're working with.
So would you say you're aiming these more at detailers and cleaners and maybe mechanics and garages and industry, or less so the private owner perhaps?
At the minute, yes, certainly, because it's so new as well. It's kind of going to be an organic growth, let's say, because this is going to take quite a few years for people to sort of to understand. But the garages are the ones that benefit now, because what they don't need to do is they don't need to buy dry ice in for a job. The idea is that they have a dry ice machine. It sits there on the shelf like any other tool that they have. They have ice. They factor it into their monthly running cost of the business, and they go, do you know what? We've got this car in, it's got this stain on the seat, get the dry ice machine out. Quickly done, 10 minutes. It pays for itself. They've got to do an engine bay, or they want to just improve the service. They've detailed a whole car, they've done all the outside. They don't need to sell a dry ice cleaning service. They just say, hey, let's do the engine bay real quick. Take us 10 minutes, done. The quality, they can get into areas. Everyone, the customer will just turn around and look at it and go, wow, I didn't even expect you to do that, thank you. That kind of business, that kind of role, that kind of model will start to feed down, and then more and more people will notice and say, I didn't realise you used dry ice on my car, it looks fantastic, can you do it on mine please?
Makes sense. And if people want to find out more about you, where can we find you online?
So they can go on dryiceenergy.com, or they can visit icecoldtools.com, which is a UK distributor and service centre.
Excellent, thank you very much for your time.
Great to talk to you, thank you.
We're still looking at some new cars here, including a car that I've really wanted to see in the metal, because we've spoken about it before, and it is MG. It is a bit F-typey, it is a bit hypercar-y, it's a bit Lotus-y, and it is the MG Cyberster.
And I think you got top marks for your pronunciation of the word Cyberster. Cyberster? Cyberster. Because the temptation is to kind of turn it into a star at the end, isn't it? But Cyberster. So it's a thing, and it's not an SUV. It's not a grey, dull SUV. It's, I don't know, it's almost a bit sort of, coupe-like. I don't know, if it was a company that was releasing a car named after a coupe, it kind of could have looked a bit like this in yellow, couldn't it, really? But anyway, here's what you could have won. But yes, it is the MG, and it's quite a looker. I'm quite taken with this.
It's really nice. First things first, you kind of expect it to be smaller from the pictures, because when you think MG, you think BGT, MG Roadster, that kind of thing. However, this is probably, if in your mind, I suppose, about the same sort of size as a Supra?
Yeah, I was expecting Mazda MX-5 sort of size, maybe a little bit bigger, but yeah, it's certainly more Supra size than MX-5 size. But there's some nice little design touches as you wander around with it. I mean, it kind of looks like a Spider-Man had to go with his webbing in the headlights, or is it a building in weird perspective or something? I can't quite work out what the angular design in the headlights is supposed to be, but it's very nice.
Well, there is. I think the thing is that the car is quite European in its design. To me, personally, if someone said this is a concept by Jaguar, you'd accept it, I think, wouldn't you?
Yes, I think you would. It's not the slew of Chinese cars that have appeared. This is certainly a departure from that, isn't it? There's some funky buttons on the side. What have we got? So is this a button to open?
Just to open the door. So it pops
open the
up
door or open the roof?
No, open the door. It's got sort of Lambo-style doors, hasn't it?
Ah, so what's that button for?
I think that's just to lock and unlock.
And what's a random parking sensor type button in the side of the door? Is that a parking sensor?
No, that is so that if you press the button to open the doors, as the door comes open, if you've got someone parked next to you, it doesn't slam into the car next to you.
Ah, clever. Yeah. They've thought about that, haven't they?
They have. It's a car with lots of lines and lots of design to it. So if you look at the back of the car, there's some arrows that point to left and right out the side, but also some really nice black banding that kind of follows its way across the top of the boot and down the side, which slims the profile slightly. It's a really cool looking thing, it really is.
Yes, that is a lot of tyre slick. I think it's certainly been used today, hasn't it? There's a lot of brake dust and rain and dirt and whatever else, it's been out to play, hasn't it? And looking at all the mucky fingerprints on the passenger side, I'd be guessing they've been doing passenger rides with it, haven't they? Which is a very good idea. It doesn't make sense to bring these things to the shows and then leave them all locked up and never have anybody use them, does it?
No, it doesn't. I sort of wonder whether this is
20s, 245 40 20.
big old wheels, and of course this is going to have some quite impressive performance depending which power plants you go for. It's not going to be a cheap car. This, if memory serves, it works out something like 60, but nevertheless you can't help but think that this is potentially a car that's, well, very good value. Let's have a look at the specs of this thing. So maximum power 503 PS, so that's what, just around about 500 horsepower. Max torque 535 foot-pounds, just 725 newton meters for people who are interested. Top speed 125 miles an hour. 0 to 60 time 3.2 seconds. So it's fast. It's very fast.
Well, I've always said I'd much rather have a car that does 0 to 60 in no time at all than a top speed of 72 miles an hour for daily road use, because the acceleration in getting to your top speed is far more fun than the top speed, because 125 okay on a track is fine, but on normal public roads driving around, 125 is licence losing or prison territory, isn't it? So actually, yeah, for a car that's 0 to 60 in 3 seconds, a top speed of 125 seems a little low, but it's all relative, of course. But the price of this one, as shown, including apparently dynamic red paint. Now, unless I'm a little colourblind, and let's not have the argument about is it grey, is it green again, that car is definitely not red, is it?
No, it's sort of a nice orangey yellow colour, isn't it, really?
It's most definitely yellow. If it was called orange of some sort, maybe, but it's definitely not red, so I don't think it's this one, but the price of the model shown apparently is 60,690, but the base car itself is available from 54,995 on the road, so that's a lot of performance for the money, isn't it?
I think in terms of performance, yes. If you think what else is around that sort of money, probably a Z4, I suppose, that kind of thing these days. So it's probably in good company. What is interesting, I've just spotted the Cyberster badge on the back looks so much like the Porsche Boxster.
I was just thinking it's very Porsche, that badge, isn't it?
It is. I think some influence has been taken from that, but yeah, it's a great looking car. It is a great looking car. I really like that.
And there's, as you say, there's the Porsche looking badge on it, but we've got some aerodynamics at work as well. We've got I'm just talking to you now from underneath the rear diffuser, which is probably slightly more form than it is function, I would suggest, but anything EV these days, they do have to pay a lot of attention to the aerodynamics in order to get the range to somewhere near an acceptable level. Talking of range, apparently the range, WLTB combined is 276, tootling around the city, as they call it, 340, so somewhere between 260 and 360 miles, I would say you'll get out of this thing. So that's probably about right for an EV, isn't it? High 200s, that'll do, won't it?
I would have thought for a two-seater roadster, that's probably about as much as you want to do, isn't it?
Yes. Well, you could probably do longer, I think. Having a look through the window, because we can't get into it because none of the doors are open. But having a look inside, we've got a nice red on-off button on the steering wheel, so that always catches attention. Nice flat bottom steering wheel, a flat bottom only as opposed to a square steering wheel. Some nicely designed seats with a little Y shape that kind of mimics the rear light clusters. A couple of cup holders, bit of a screen in the middle, big wraparound screen for the driver.
It's very driver focused.
Yeah, we got some flappy paddles on the back, presumably for regen. Gear selection on the left-hand side, but it's still got a few physical buttons, I see, for what looks like heated screen and bits and pieces like that. So nice to still see a few physical buttons in it. Yeah, I think it looks like a very pleasant place to sit.
Definitely. I'd like to drive one.
Me too. Taking the long walk across the tiny stretch of concrete onto the next section. Trying to work out who's running this section, actually. It seems completely unmanned. The cars are just plonked here and there's nobody actually hanging around here. But we've got a random selection of cars, but the two that have caught our eye are, of course, the Dacia Spring, as we've waxed lyrical about many times, and the Renault 5. So shall we start with the smallest and have a look at the Dacia Spring? It's quite a cool thing, this, isn't it? I like this. It's a lovely bluey grey. It's sort of trying to think of a way to describe the colour, which is always tricky. Just a battleship blue, I would say, something like that. And it's rather nice, but it's got some nice light bronze accents on it, which carry on inside. It's teeny tiny. It's good, this thing. It just makes you smile when you look at it, doesn't it?
It does. My first thought is, it's quite a funky looking thing. It looks unapologetically affordable, I think is probably how I would describe it. Is that the nicest way to say? It doesn't necessarily look cheap, but it's quite obviously got hubcaps. It's quite obviously got some chunky body bits. You can see where they've saved some money on trims. You've got some big chunky handles, and there's been some clever little design touches like the black band across the back, which liven it up in between the tail lamps with the Dacia badge logo imprinted in. I think without that it would probably look a bit plain and a bit flat, but because it has all these nice little details and effectively what are decals or stickers, if you like, all over the outside of it, it helps sort of slim the car down and make it a bit more visually interesting.
But yeah, as you say, they're probably decals, but the matte black with the slightly gloss black Spring logo on the side, on the C pillar, reminds me slightly of the rear window surround on the Mark II Golf we saw earlier. Is that kind of effect, isn't it? And the what have we got down at the bottom here around the rear fog light? S.EV65 Dacia Spring electric powertrain. So again, I think this is just a sticker. So you peel it off and put another one on, so you can customise it and do what you like with it. But that keeps cars interesting, doesn't it? From looking around some of the max power cars that we saw earlier, people do like to customise their cars still, I think, don't they?
Well, the idea, I think, behind having the vinyl on these cars, on the front and on the back and on the doors, is that if it gets bumped or rubbed or knocked or chipped, you just peel it off and put another one on. It's cheap. That's the point. This is a city car. It's designed to get knocked about a bit. It's got plastic wheel arches, not because it's pretending to be an off-road special, but because they know where these cars are generally used. It might be downtown Paris, for example. People are going to run into them, they're going to open doors into them, they're going to bump you forward and back. So it makes sense. Why not make it cheap? But you can have a very cheap power upgrade, of course, because you just change your 0.65 sticker on the back from the 0.45, whatever it is.
That's it, up badging, one of Graham's favourite hobbies. But speaking of price and performance, well, you say this is the quick one. It's 65 horsepower, so it's not quick. It's quicker than the other one, but it's all relative, isn't it?
Quicker than walking.
But in the same way that dysentery is better than death.
Well, yes.
Neither are nice, but I'd rather have dysentery than die. So there we go.
It's a point made, not necessarily a point well made, but it's a point made.
Yeah, but the pricing. So recommended OTR 16995, prices tested 17645, as it's got 650 quid's worth of metallic paint on it. And as I say, I quite like the colour, but I like the bronze accents. I like the look of the inside. Again, it's all locked up, and there seems to be nobody here to have a chat to. But it looks, as you say, maybe unapologetically cheap. But the upholstery, it's got some pleather and some what I would imagine is recycled fabric on the inside. But it's got a nice speckly pattern on it. There's a dashboard. There's a space for some things. Yeah, fairly basic and cheap inside. But it looks like if you want a car, it's a car. What more do you want? And apparently the name of the colour is Stonewash Blue. Stonewash Blue. So there we go. And then moving on to something slightly brighter coloured, but from the same sort of stable, and something unashamedly retro and beautifully retro and full of nice details is, of course, the Renault 5, a car we've spoken about many times since we first saw it at Goodwood. And this is the one that's good to go, isn't it? This is the one, if you buy it with some of your hard-earned money, this is the one you will get. And it's I like this. This is cool.
It is cool, and it's retro without being chintzy, isn't it? It's been done really, really well. It's a really tactile thing. You look at the tail lamps, and originally I wasn't sure if these were just going to be flat plastic but designed to look the way they are. They're entirely sculptural, 3D, and with a little dummy vent on the edge of the wing, which is reminiscent of the 5 turbos. Really, really like that.
Oh, Should we do some ASMR of running your fingernail across the detailing on the lights?
People are looking at us strangely now.
Probably correct to be honest.
Nevertheless, across the back, this really nice black band with the 5 badge inside, inset into, and it's just so many nice little details, little red band around the top of the roof. You look at this and you think, this could have been Ford doing a Capri, this could have been a new Fiesta. You can't tell me that it's not possible to make these kind of cars and make money, because otherwise Renault wouldn't do it either.
Yeah, it must be okay. I mean, the spec, this is left-hand drive spec, UK spec to be confirmed. I don't think it's giving us a price on here as tested, is it, in English pounds? Confirmed later 2024. But this is the Techno Comfort range, 150 horsepowers. It has a WLTP range of 248 miles, 52 kilowatt hour battery. So that's about right, I think, for an EV, isn't it? But pricing, we're thinking it's going to be, what, mid-20s?
Yeah, so
something like that.
Around about £25,000. And you know, it has the feeling about it that the quality and just generally the aesthetic and the quality of the thing is better than you would achieve otherwise for that money. If you think the original BMW Mini when it came out, for its time, the quality was excellent compared to something like a Fiesta or a Corsa or a 206 or something. It was that next level, and people looked at it and went, this is a really nice thing, just a nice thing to own. Ignore the fact it's a car. This is like that. To me, I think it is genuinely beautifully detailed. It's really nicely made. It's just, I really, really want to get in and drive this one. It's a beautiful metallic green colour, and I'd be very happy to have this on my driveway. And it's rare that I look at a French car and think, I really want this, but I do. I genuinely think this is a great car.
Yeah, I'd be more than happy to smoke around in this all day, every day. Possibly even better as a company car, as the benefit in kind is virtually nothing, as is the case with all EVs. But looking around the little details, it's like all the little flicks and details and tips and tricks that you see on a concept car that never make it to production because the accountants get in the way or it's not quite possible. All of those, or most of those certainly, seem to have carried over. You know, we've got the little tricolour in the headlamps, and as so many manufacturers have done, they put their logo or something different in the headlamps just to make you look at it, and when you do look at it you go, ooh, that's nice. And this has those things, and instead of a vent on the bonnet where the GT Turbo had a vent for the 5 minutes that it would run before it detonated in its own engine, we have a battery with the 5 logo, and it's just a bit of plastic, a bit of detailing for no other reason than just to look good.
Well, actually, it does have another reason. This is the battery charge status bar. So it's actually the 5 logo is divided up into sections, and as it charges up, those then light up to show you what state charges from the outside.
Oh no, that's cool. I want that. That's just a nicer way of doing it, because many manufacturers, you have the little 4 or 5 bars next to the charging point to tell you how they're doing. But that's just quite nice. They've thought about that, and that's okay. Yes, they could have put just a few coloured LEDs around near the charger, but they haven't. They've done that, and that is that much nicer for it, I think.
And what's that in the windscreen? It's not just a reflection. It is actually a cock.
It is a cock in the windscreen.
But sadly, no baguette holder.
No, there's no baguette. That's an option, isn't it?
It is an option.
Yeah. So it hasn't been fitted in this one, but we've got a nice. It's almost a squoval, isn't it? It's flat topped and flat bottomed, but the edges are round, so that's okay. Steering wheel, and with a little push button starter on the steering wheel there, is all the rage, and it looks rather trendy. Wraparound screen for the driver. But still a few push buttons, which is a good thing. Well, we're done. We're done in. You're done in, aren't you? You look knackered. Are you okay?
They're back in the ambulance.
I'm ruined. The ambulance, yes, the ambulance is being reversed towards us, which is the same colour as the Mackie Rally that we've just seen.
Yes, almost an identical shade of lurid yellow, wasn't it?
Yeah, it certainly is. It's been a fantastic day, though, hasn't it? I mean, I'm most certainly tired. I guess you probably are too at this point.
Well, I'm not too bad. I think you're definitely going to fall asleep in the car on the way home, aren't you? Because you look ready for the end, if I'm being honest. But
Yeah, I think probably I'd sometimes just hook up some sort of IV drip at this point, and might just be ready to go. Yeah. No, I think it's been a fantastic day. We've seen some quite exciting new stuff, which is nice, like the Renault 5, Dacia. We've seen some innovative new stuff, like the dry ice. Innovative.
It's easy for you to say.
Like the dry ice blasting, which I think is pretty cool. And yeah, what's been your favourite thing?
I think having a quick sit in the Jordan F1 car from Drift Limits. Regular listeners to the podcast will know we spoke to the chief mechanic of there. Was it last year or the year before now? Time flies, I think, a couple of years ago. But it was nice to have a sit in it and work out that my feet are actually far too big and I sit a bit high, so I probably need a bit trimmed out of the seat or something to get in it. But I think I'd make it work, and I think I'd have a go in it. That'd be good fun.
Yeah, why not indeed? You'd be absolutely fine, and you can drive that one, can't you? And if you are interested to hear that interview, then just listen to both podcasts that we've did for the last couple of years, because we're not sure, and that way you'll be definitely sure to catch it. So why not? It's well worth a visit if you happen to be here. I mean, by the time you listen to this, it'll be next year you need to look forward to, but definitely one to stick into the calendar.
I think so, and it seems like a good family-friendly fun day out as well. There've been lots of families, a few blokes on their own, a few women on their own, so it's whatever level of anything you are, really. It's there's something for everyone, and there's a lot of planes taken off in the background, as you can hear. So it's there is literally something for everyone. I mean, just over the side we got Sporting Bear's Dream Ride, so if you do want to pitch up and have a passenger ride in a car you've always wanted to have a passenger ride in and chuck a couple of quid in a charity bucket, that's always a nice thing, isn't it?
Definitely is, yeah, for sure. And beyond that is Gulfstream. So if you fancy buying yourself a private jet, that's also an option, I guess.
There's literally something here for every budget, isn't there? You can go and buy a keyring for £4, or you can buy a Gulfstream jet for
literally some millions.
100 million, 200 million. I don't know, probably just whatever you want, I would have thought.
Who knows? Do a Google. And on that note, it's probably time for us to end. So thank you so much for listening to us, and apologies that I appear to have been, I seem to be asleep already.
That's okay, I'm sure they'll let you off, so have a good night's sleep, you'll be fine, all will be well in the morning. If not, we'll take you back to the medical centre, which was located conveniently opposite the press lounge. It's almost like they knew you were coming.
Well, there we go. A sign of a good day, isn't it, to be this tired at the end of it? So thank you for listening, and we'll catch you next time. Take care.
Bye for now.
Bye-bye.
UKMotorTalk, a First Take Media production.
Oh, and don't forget, catch us on the socials. We are at UKMotorTalk everywhere.